I'm not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. Past is gone, the future is not yet. Now am I freed, freed from both. For what God gives can only be good, and I accept what He gives as what belongs to me, as what belongs to me, as what belongs to me, and I accept what He gives. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. I'm not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I place the future in the hands of God. One place in our lesson, back in lesson 194, which this is the review of, it says, I place my future in the loving hands of God. That's in all what he says, for what God gives can only be good. So just rest in the love of God and the gifts that God gives you. Well, I'm Miracle Willie, forgiveness teacher from the Ozarks. I'm on the other side of Lake Spiro today from where I was taping yesterday, and here in Spiro, Oklahoma. And like I said, I'm Miracle, or I don't know if I said, but I'm Miracle Willie, forgiveness teacher from the Ozarks. And we're lesson 214, which is our 6th review lesson. Hopefully the sound will be a little better today. Yesterday that wind was blowing so much that it was kind of making its own turbulent sound. So today I'm hoping that I got that where it's not as big of an issue. But thank you for bearing with me and following these lessons. You know, open your book or get another device and read along from acim.org if you don't have a book. If you need a book and you can't afford one, let me know and we'll make sure you get a book best I can. Let's see, we're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. Like I said, it's a review of lesson 194. I place the future in the hands of God. And basically what we just sang is what is in the lesson. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. He wants to say that at least every hour of our waking day, and then to take 15 minutes in the morning and in the evening to contemplate that, along with this idea for today. I place the future in the hands of God. And then he says about, I place the future in the hands of God. The past is gone, the future is not yet. Now am I freed from both, for what God gives can only be good. For what God gives can only be for good, and I accept but what He gives as what belongs to me. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. And for what God gives can only be for good. I wrote just, and what God gives can only be good. I didn't put the word for in the middle there, but I'm going to add it, and hopefully we'll sing it exactly like he's got written. Instead of, it probably means about the same thing either way. But let's get it the way he said it, just in case there's a little nuance of difference. Okay, let's see. Once again, I'm not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I place the future in the hands of God. Well, what a world you can live in with so much knowing that God has your future cared for. He says that the past is gone and the future is not yet. We don't have to get caught up with what's going to happen in the future, and we don't have to be guilty about what's been done in the past. Just trust your future to the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. The past is gone, the future is not yet. Now am I free from both. Now, right now, you can be in the present moment. I remember what Jesus said it recorded in, I think, chapter 7 of Matthew. And he said, give no thought for tomorrow, for sufficient for today is the troubles thereof. There's enough things going on in your present world. Don't worry about the future. Let God take care of it. He'll take care of it. And I accept but what He gives as what belongs to me. For what God gives can only be for good, and I accept but what He gives as what belongs to me. I place the future in the hands of God, or I place my future in the loving hands of God. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Okay, well, let's go take a look in our text reading. We're in chapter 23, section 3, salvation without compromise. Yeah, that's it. Salvation without compromise. He's going to talk to us about rising above the battleground. Instead of being immersed in the conflict, recognize that you have a way of being lifted into a quiet, serene place no matter what's going on around you. You don't have to be subjected to the assaults of the forms of nothingness, as he talks about it. We can rise above the battleground. When we get there, I was thinking about Sam Houston, and he ran away from home, or left home, when he was about a young boy, a young man. He was, I think, he was around 15 or 16. And he wanted to go live with the Cherokee Indians, and he met up with a Cherokee chief, John Jolly, and John Jolly accepted him into his family as a son, named him Raven. And John Jolly taught Sam Houston a wonderful lesson, and it was he said this. He said, "There's a way to put yourself in the treetops where the bullets and the arrows cannot touch you." And that's rising above the battleground. And we're going to read about that here in just a minute. So, like I said, salvation without compromise is what we'll be actually reading. Tomorrow, the actual lesson is going to continue, and it's called Above the Battleground. But anyway, while we still believe we're in conflict, we have a way of rising above it by putting ourselves in the treetops. You know, it's kind of like meditating on the wind moving the leaves, and just kind of being in a serene place, and recognizing that your soul can be in that place where the bullets and the arrows cannot touch you or harm you, or anyway. I place the future in the hands of God. Okay, before we read our text, let's take a look about what's going on around the world today. Colorado Statehood Day, Dogust, Universal Birthday for Shelter Dogs, Dogust, Homemade Pie Day, and Raspberry Cream Pie Day, Indian Pale Ale Day, Indian Pale Ale, Can It Forward Day, that's a mason jar, you know, can up some foods and then give them to your neighbor. They say the best place to put your excess is in your neighbor's belly. That way when you need something, they'll have the same philosophy. Child Free Day. I'm not sure what that's about. I expect today to do something that you don't have to take your children along with you. Child Free Day. Lamaze Day. Oh no, it's Lammas Day. Lammas Day, which is, I looked that one up, it's Blessing of the Loaves, and it was kind of a Christian spin-off of the ceremony, or of the festival called Lunasa, which is today's Lunasa. We talked about it back on Sunday, a few days ago. It's usually celebrated now, instead of on August the 1st, it's usually celebrated on the closest Sunday to, or the Sunday before, evidently. and it's basically a time. I think they built a lot of fires around the countryside. It was a you know, the native people, the Gaelic people, their celebration, celebrated in oh, where did I read that it was being celebrated? I thought I wrote it down, but it was basically Ireland, Isle of Man, and Scotland. So anyway, it's a Gaelic festival called Lunasa. So happy Lunasa to you. Let's see. Girlfriend's Day. Respect your parents' day. That thought be every day. Planner Day, Play Ball Day, Startup Day across America. I expect that's for people a good day to start a business. I'm not sure what that's all about. World Astronomy Day and Woman Astronomers Day. Lung Cancer Day, and I wanted to just mention my peyote shaman. He crossed over recently. His name was Four Eagles Stands Alone on Water, or Paul Curtis Stevenson was his American name. But anyway, I honor him and his offering to the world. Let's see, what else do we have? World Scout Scarf Day. I guess this kind of counts as a World Scout scarf. It's not a Boy Scout scarf, but let's see, and Worldwide, what is that? World Wide Web Day and Yorkshire Day. And then out of edible landscaping, there is another herb, and it's called the Sweet Bay Laurel. And it says of the Sweet Bay Laurel, let's see what it says about it. Sweet bay laurel, the traditional bay leaf so essential to European cuisine, slow-growing bush with aromatic leaves, good shrub for warm areas, good for pots, so you can grow it in a pot. Space outside, 8-foot circles, zones 7B through 8. So you have to be a pretty warm area to get it to go through the winter. But you can grow it in a pot and bring it in the winter time. Probably want a pretty good sized pot if you grow up to 8-foot diameter. Okay, is there anything else that we want to do before we go ahead? Let's go ahead and let's say our lesson once again. Kind of get that really in our minds. And of course, I'm not a body. I am free, for I am still as God created me. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. Salvation without compromise. Is it not true you do not recognize some of the forms attack can take? Is it not true you do not recognize some of the forms attack can take? If it is true attack in any form will hurt you, and will do so just as much as in another form that you do recognize, then it must follow that you do not always recognize the source of pain. Attack in any form is equally destructive. Attack in any form is equally destructive. Its purpose does not change. Its sole intent is murder. Whenever you keep that in mind, that was really an eye-opener for me several years ago when I realized that any attack is just a miniature of murder. So if you feel the need to attack someone, the full blown experience of attack would be to murder. Now most of us would stop long before we reach that point, but if you can begin to identify that is the seed that results in murder, you can begin to be more merciful and even more sympathetic to those who have committed a crime, because you'll realize that, well, I've actually kind of guilty of murder too. Jesus even said that back in that same Sermon on the Mount where I was referring to earlier. It's actually chapter 5, 6, and 7 in Matthew, where he says that, and there he also said that even if you just say something negative derogatory towards a brother, you've already done more than that. I forget exactly how he said it, but basically he says you've already made a crime just by thinking of their wrongdoing. Anyway, we want to free our minds from the concept of attack. It doesn't get us anything that we want, and so we want to start finding the areas where we still have been using attack to get something that we want, and realize that it doesn't get us anything that we want. It just makes us feel miserable. And we don't even realize that that's what's causing it. We think it's whoever we're thinking we needed to attack that's making us feel bad. We don't realize what's really making us feel bad is our thoughts about the way that someone is treating us or thinking about us or acting towards us. So anyway, just its sole intent to, okay, let's go ahead and say its sole intent is murder. And what form of murder serves to cover the massive guilt and frantic fear of punishment the murderer must feel? He may deny he is a murderer and justify his savagery with smiles as he attacks. Yet he will suffer and will look on his intent in nightmares where the smiles are gone, and where the purpose rises to meet his horrified awareness and pursue him still. And no one thinks of murder and escapes the guilt the thought entails. If the intent is death, what matter the form it takes? Okay, you catch that? If the intent is death, what matters the form it takes? Whether it's just an attack, might be as subtle as just a frown on your face, or a outright an assault on them. But it doesn't matter. The ultimate goal of attack is murder, is what he's trying to get us to see. And that only is going to make you feel miserable. Paragraph 2. Is death in any form, however lovely and charitable it may seem to be, a blessing and a sign the voice for God speaks through you to your brother? The wrapping does not make the gift you give. An empty box, however beautiful and gently given, still contains nothing. And neither the receiver nor the giver is long deceived. Withhold forgiveness from your brother and you attack him. You give nothing and receive of him but what you gave. Paragraph 3. Salvation is no compromise of any kind. Salvation is no compromise of any kind. To compromise is to accept but part of what you want, to take a little and give up the rest. Salvation gives up nothing. So the path that we're on is the path of not compromising. Compromising is to say, God, here's what God wants me to do, but I can't see a way to do it, so I'll just do part of it. And it doesn't work that way. We don't want to compromise anything in that God wants for us. We want to do it all, and that's the way that's our right. That's our opportunity. I like to think of rights as more opportunities rather than something that I can have and you know kind of a proud thing. It's more of a humble thing. It's like, okay, God wants me to have that. Well, I don't know how I'm going to get it, but He says I want it, so I guess I'm going to get it. You know, that kind of I place my future in the hands of God mentality. It is complete for everyone. Let's back up. Salvation is no compromise of any kind. To compromise is to accept but part of what you want, to take a little and give up the rest. Salvation gives up nothing. It is complete for everyone. Let the idea of compromise but enter, and the awareness of salvation's purpose is lost, because it is not recognized. It is denied where compromise has been accepted. For compromise is the belief salvation is impossible. Wow, catch that. Compromise is the belief that salvation, which is complete joy, is impossible. It would maintain, so basically compromise would maintain, you can attack a little, love a little, and know the difference. Thus it would teach a little of the same can still be different, and yet the same remain intact and as one. Does this make sense? Can it be understood? Remember yesterday he said that if you take one step in the direction towards the descent into hell, that you'll take the next, and you won't even know that you're doing it once you've taken the first step. So he wants us to just stay clean from the beginning. Paragraph 4. This course is easy just because it makes no compromise. Yet it seems difficult to those who still believe that compromise is possible. They do not see if it is salvation. They do not see that if it is, salvation is attack. Let's read that again. This course is easy just because it makes no compromise. Yet it seems difficult to those who still believe that compromise is possible. They do not see that if it is, salvation is attack. Yet it is certain the belief that salvation is impossible cannot uphold a quiet, calm assurance it has come. Again on that sentence. It is certain the belief that salvation is impossible cannot uphold a quiet, calm assurance it has come. Forgiveness cannot be withheld a little. Forgiveness cannot be withheld a little. Nor is it possible to attack for this and love for that and understand forgiveness. Would you not want to recognize assault upon your peace in any form? If only thus does it become impossible that you lose sight of it. It can be kept shining before your vision, however clear, and never out of sight, if you defend it not. And we want to get to where we live in that defenseless state where we just let the future come to us without trying to defend our fixed position, particularly when our fixed position has to do with not wanting to offer forgiveness or love. Paragraph 5. Those who believe that peace can be defended and that attack is justified on its behalf cannot perceive it lies within them. Catch that. Those who believe that peace can be defended. In other words, I want peace and I'm going to fight to have it. It doesn't work that way. Those who believe that peace can be defended and that attack is justified on its behalf cannot perceive it lies within them. It's all within you. How could they know? Could they accept forgiveness side by side with the belief that murder takes on some forms by which their peace is saved? Would they be willing to accept the fact their savage purpose is directed against themselves? No one unites with enemies, nor is it one with them in purpose. And no one compromises with an enemy, but hates him still for what he kept from him. And the last paragraph, paragraph 6, mistake not truce for peace. Mistake not truce for peace, nor compromise for the escape from conflict. To be released from conflict means that it is over. The door is open. You have left the battleground. You have not lingered there in cowering hope that it will not return because the guns are stilled an instant, and the fear that haunts the place of death is not apparent. There is no safety in a battleground. You can look down on it in safety from above and not be touched. And that brings us back to what I told you about. There's a way to put yourself in the treetops where the bullets and the arrows cannot harm you. And it doesn't have to be just literal bullets and arrows. The forms of nothingness in this world won't harm you when you leave the body. And that's what our lesson's all about. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I place the future in the loving hands of God. There is no safety in a battleground. You can look down on it in safety from above and not be touched. But from within the battleground, you can find no safety. Not one tree left standing will shelter you. Not one tree left still standing will shelter you. Not one illusion of protection stands against the faith in murder. Here stands the body, torn between the natural desire to communicate and the unnatural intent to murder and to die. Think you the form that murder takes can offer safety? Can guilt be absent from a battleground? And what he's trying to get us to see is that what we really want is peace. And we'll never get peace by conflict. So we want to lay down our arms and realize that peace is within us. Rise above the battleground. Recognize that you're not a body, you're free. And that you're still as God created you. As you say this, as you sing this song. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. Past is gone, the future is not yet. Now am I freed, freed from both. For what God gives can only be for good. And I accept what He gives as what belongs to me, as what belongs to me, as what belongs to me. And I accept but what He gives. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. I place my future in the hands of God. I place my future in the loving hands of God. I place the past is gone, the future is not yet. Now am I freed, freed from both. For what God gives can only be for good. And I accept but what He gives as what belongs to me, as what belongs to me, as what belongs to me, as what belongs to me. I place the future in the hands of God. I place my future in the hands of God. I place my future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. Past is gone, the future is not yet. Now am I freed, freed from both. For what God gives can only be for good. And I accept but what He gives as what belongs to me, as what belongs to me, as what belongs to me. And I accept but what He gives. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I place the future in the hands of God. Place the future in the hands of God. Place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. Well, thank you all for joining me here on the banks of Lake Spiro. And our word for peace is out of the Old Norse, Scandinavian language, and the word for peace is Fridr. Fridr, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's F-R-I-D-R. And I'm going to say Fridr. So, until tomorrow, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I place the future in the hands of God. I place my future in the loving hands of God. You might say that to yourself. I place the future in the hands of God. Fridr.